Welcome to Where I Long to Be, a magical trip report podcast. My name is Virginia, and I am your host. On this week's show, I am happy to be welcoming back Chelsea. Chelsea is a travel agent who specializes in Disney, and she would love to help you plan the perfect vacation to whatever destination your heart desires. You can find her information in the show notes. While Chelsea is a frequent visitor to Disneyland in California and has been to Walt Disney World herself many times over the years, this was the first chance she's had to take her first trip as a family of 3. Chelsea, her husband Jed, and daughter Olivia, who is 8, were headed to Walt Disney World March 8th through 14th, with plans to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge's Jumbo House and over at the Swan portion of the Swan and Dolphin Resort. That's all you need to know to be caught up. So get comfy and let's get into it. Please welcome Chelsea back to the show. Welcome back, Chelsea.
Hi, happy to be back, but not happy to be over with my wonderful Disney World vacation.
Oh, I know. It's always sad when it's over and you have to exit that bubble and head back to the real world. But at least we get the chance to talk about it today. Yes. And I'm sure you all made so many good memories that it's going to stick with you for a long time. You flew out of El Paso, and I think you had a layover in Dallas. How did all your flights go? Because there is chaos at the airports right now in terms of security and all of that. Did you encounter any of those issues?
I didn't. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead. There was a little chaos on the way home, but when we were leaving on March 8th, it wasn't bad at all. We were aware that things were definitely starting to happen, and so we did get there early, but El Paso is a quaint airport, and so we didn't have any issues at all. Our biggest problem on Sunday when we left was the time change. We were departing at 8:05, so I wanted to be there by 5:45, so we needed to leave our house by 5:30, and that meant that it really felt like 4:30, and I was waking up at 3 a.m., so it was a whole thing. So we felt that. So in total, we lost 3 hours that day because of the 2-hour time difference and the 1-hour time change. And in planning, I didn't think that that would be such a situation. And it did have an effect on the early part of our trip. So that was more of an impact to us than the TSA situation early on, but it was definitely something that we were thinking about and getting there early. But otherwise, everything was fine. It's airplane travel, and we're grateful for it, but it's not the easiest thing, So
are you able to sleep on a plane easily?
No, I'm not easily able to sleep, period.
Oh no.
But we're traveling Southwest, and Southwest has changed their.
I keep hearing about this.
Yes, and so we as a family did we get to sit together on this flight? We had to make some adjustments where we had to request to sit together because apparently the cutoff where they believe a child is a child in Southwest is 7, and my daughter was 8. And so I was just thinking how funny if they have a bunch of 8-year-olds sitting by themselves because, I still take my child to the bathroom. So anyway, luckily I was able to sit with my daughter. I can't remember if I was sitting with my husband or not at the time, but that didn't matter. So it was fine. We did have our layover in Dallas, and we arrived on time to MCO. But once we arrived, we did taxi for a while, and that made us get off the plane about 45 minutes later than we were supposed to. And not a huge problem, but we did have a reservation at Boma that evening. And by the time we got off, got our luggage, and got our Uber to get over to Animal Kingdom Lodge, I did start getting a little anxious because I wanted to have enough time to check in and relax before we made it over to Boma. And so anyway, it ended up being fine. We were supposed to get off the plane at 3:30, and I think that we were getting our luggage by 4:15. And we saw the Disney World sign by 5 p.m. And so we were fine. We checked into Animal Kingdom Lodge, and if you recall, I had made requests to have a obstructed view room that was close to the lobby. I had heard a lot from people that the Animal Kingdom Lodge is such a vast property that you really want to request to be close to the lobby so that you're not having to, walk 15-20 minutes to even get to where the transportation pickup is. And so upon arrival, we spoke with Austin from California, such a sweet cast member, and he was able to accommodate both of our requests, and he was so sweet. And then it was magical because as we turned to head to our room, there was a little girl that was departing, and she gave my daughter a balloon because she couldn't take her balloon with her. And so my daughter was so excited because we're not the kind of people that buy $30 balloons. And so my daughter had never had a Disney balloon before. And so
Same.
yeah, so she was real excited. And so it started things off in a special way. And so we are going down the hallways. And I know that you're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge soon, but have you been inside the actual hotel property before?
I've been over there to eat. So I've been inside the lobby and like the store area, but I haven't walked down the halls for the rooms or anything.
It's just the most, I don't even know how to describe it, but we're just walking through the halls and you look out these huge windows and you just immediately see giraffes and zebras, and it's breathtaking. It's just such a surreal experience. And we just immediately were so taken by the entire situation. And we went and checked into our room. And of course, right away, we run out to the balcony to see what we saw. And again, giraffes, zebras, some other animals, which I wasn't quite sure what they were, but they were awesome to see anyway. And, I told you before, my daughter is animal obsessed. She wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. Like, this was such an amazing experience for us. And right away, we just could not be happier. And, so that was awesome. And we, relaxed for a second and then headed down to our Boma reservation. And the Boma my husband was in heaven because he's a heavy meat eater. And
I wrote that down. It says in my notes, Jed, big meat eater.
Yeah, he'll love that when he listens. So he was in heaven. They had a ton of ribeye. I'm not a meat eater. I mean, I'll eat meat here and there, but not like him. But there was a whole carving station that had ribeye and ribs and I don't know, the salmon and chicken and all these things. And so, I mean, he just had several plates of meat that he was very happy about. And then my daughter, she says when you ask her, she had two top dinner experiences, and I won't spoil her other one that we'll get to later. But Boma is one of hers, which is wild because one, all she had was buttered noodles, and two, and bread. She said they had the best bread in the world, but two, it's just you wouldn't think that she would enjoy this African dinner experience, but she didn't really, partake in the cultural aspects of it. And I thought I would be the one that loved it so much because I like, the salads and the they have a lot of you know, different kind of dips and things like that. I
Mm-hmm.
liked it. For me, it was probably more of a one and done. I think I would have liked the breakfast better.
Mm-hmm.
But the dinner, it was such a specific type of food. And what I'll say about Animal Kingdom Lodge is that we loved it. I don't think that we could ever go back to Disney World and not stay there at least part of our trip, because
Mm.
that was by far our favorite part of the trip. It
Mm-hmm.
was just such an amazing experience. And what most people love about Animal Kingdom Lodge is the restaurants and the food. For me, that was probably, as much as we enjoyed each of our experiences, I think that one of the things that would make it difficult for me to stay there for the entire time is the fact that the food is so specific that it would be
Mm-hmm.
difficult to only eat that type of food your entire trip.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
So,
That's good to know for people who are considering that and maybe, have specific tastes in terms of food options. There are a lot of DVC rooms there, which is nice. So if you are able to stay in a DVC room because of being DVC or renting DVC points from one of the authorized renter sites, like David's DVC or DVC rental or whatever, can have access to a kitchen. And I think that makes a difference, so that you have like the option to cook your own food and everything, just for a little variety's sake.
right.
I wanted to go back and ask you about the room, just to clarify for listeners. Had you booked a Savannah View room?
No, we had not booked a Savannah View room.
Which is why you asked for obstructed view. So I want to, like, can you just briefly explain this tip for anybody who might be looking to go there and wants to try to, save a little bit on the room type?
Yes. Let me preface this by saying, when we stay there again, because we will stay there again, I will not play this lottery system. I will 100% book the Savannah View room because we enjoyed the view so much. But prior to staying there, I didn't think that we would be in our room so much, and I didn't think it would matter so much. So I played this little lottery system and I requested the obstructed view room based upon my research of other people doing it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to do it, the way I would do it is, if you are booking yourself, or of course if you're booking through a travel agent, I would have them request it ahead of time by calling Disney, and
Mm-hmm.
then I would not check in on your mobile app, but rather check in person. And that way you can let the cast member know right away, like, and what I did with Austin, from California, is I just told him, like, hey, I know I have no bearing. And I joked with him and I was just like, hey, I know I'm not paying for this, but I am requesting the, obstructed view room because we love this view. And if you can't make it happen, no big deal. Our other request is just being close to the lobby. And he's like, I got you. And he saw in our notes that it was my daughter's first visit. And he did what he could, because I think that he had the availability. Again, this was right before spring break started, so I'm sure that they weren't at capacity, but it
Mm-hmm.
is definitely like rolling the dice. And
Right.
it's a good tip if you want to save money. Again, when we go to Animal Kingdom Lodge again, we will be staying in a Savannah View room, because that's how amazing the experience was, and I wouldn't want to roll the dice with it in the future.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear for everybody. What did you do after dinner? Because I think you were thinking you might do some pool time.
We did. So before we did pool time, we went to the gift shop because my daughter wanted a magic band, and prior we had only got my husband a magic band, thinking, as Disneyland people, we didn't see the importance of a magic band. But now we all have magic bands and we're all magic band obsessed, and we love how Disney World uses magic bands. So we went and took care of that. And then my daughter wanted to get into pin trading this trip. and she's very into ducks. And so they had a Disney ducks line of pins. And so she got some of those. And then, yes, we went back to our room and changed and went to the pool. My daughter is a swimmer and for our little community pool league. And so she hadn't been in the pool since last summer. And we had a hard time getting her out of the pool. She was so happy to be back in the pool again. So that was so fun. And then when we were able to pull her away from the pool, we went and got our resort mugs from the Mara, and we got hot chocolate, and we went up and took showers and then put on Frozen in preparation for our Epcot day the next morning.
Fun. Did she make friends at the pool? Because I always found with my only child, Alex, that they have no problem picking up friends wherever you go as an only child. You kind of have to.
You know what? She normally does, but I'm trying to think. I don't think she did that night. And one thing about her is she is very good about making friends, but she's also very good at playing by herself. And she's also very like Velcro attached to her parents and forcing us, not forcing, that sounds so bad. We're great parents, everyone. But we play with her as well.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. We believe you, Chelsea. We know you're a great parent. All right. Let's dive into your first park day. So Monday, March the 9th, you were heading to Epcot, and you told me previously that you all are a rope drop family. So how well did you do getting out the door?
Look, I'm so proud of us. We are the rope drop family. We left our room at 7 a.m. and our bus pulled up at 7:10, like pulled up to Animal Kingdom to pick us up. And when we got off of the bus, we were the very first bus, which is wild since it's Animal Kingdom and one of the further, if not the furthest resort. We were the very first bus pulling up for the morning. So we were the very first group being dropped off at Epcot for the day. And we were the first people, which if we were rope dropping something exciting like Guardians or Test Track, that would be amazing. But as previously mentioned, my daughter doesn't like the thrill rides. So we were going to be rope dropping Frozen. But it still was exciting. Like I have pictures of my daughter at the front of Epcot, and she is the very first person in line to scan in at Epcot that day. Wow. And so yes, I was really proud of myself, but you'll see later that our early arrival did not make us last as late as I wanted. So we did go and rope drop Frozen, and very unfortunately for us, Frozen was down. And that surprised me because I'm a research person, and in all my research, there wasn't any warnings that Frozen was a ride that is typically down or could be down.
I hear about it being down sometimes, but you're right. I hear about Remy being down more than I hear Frozen being down.
And, Epcot's a big park. And so we get all the way over there, and it's hard to pivot like you would at another park because there's nothing terribly close by. And the cast member said, well, you could go to Remy's, but I know, no, we can't, because everyone who's getting off of the Skyliner has already gone there. And now we're at a disadvantage, even though we were the very first people rope dropping. And so our pivot ended up just being to head to Soarin', which, again, isn't the ideal rope drop ride, but it's something that my daughter likes. And of course, we just want her to be excited. And so that's where we headed. And so we were able to knock out Soarin', Living with the Land, Nemo. We also looked around at the aquarium and then did Journey of Water. And we did all that early on into the morning, as well as look at the topiaries, which are so amazing to see. And so that was all between the hours of 8 and 10 a.m. in the morning. And then we moved on to my daughter's, probably one of her top things at Epcot was Club Cool.
I knew you were going to say that the minute you started that sentence. I don't know what it is, but kids love Club Cool.
We don't serve her soda in the house. You know, when we're at restaurants, if she asks to order a root beer or something like that, you know, fine here and there. But I don't know if it's just the excitement of being able to taste test things or, you know, having soda. I don't know what it is, but we went back there more than once. So we did that. And then she also loved going up to the statues, the golden statues, and waving her magic band at them and seeing what they did. So we did that for a bit. I got a coffee. She did some pen trading, and then she met Donald, which again, she loves ducks. And so that was fun. There's this session in third grade where all the kids like to collect these little miniature resin ducks. Have you seen them before? They're
No.
teeny tiny ducks.
No, I haven't seen this.
Oh, do you do you remember Pogs?
Yes.
Like from the 90s, Pogs, like those circular things.
Yes.
I call these miniature ducks the Pogs of 2026. So the kids in third grade, they collect them. They're all different like colors. Like sometimes they're sparkly, sometimes they're pastel, whatever. Anyway, they collect them, and my daughter especially loves to set up scenarios for them. Like at mealtime, she likes to like make a little dinner for the duck, or I don't know, but the kids love them. So she gave Donald like a little duck, and he got all excited to see the duck because they're tiny and she has hundreds of them. Anyway, so then we went on Grand Fiesta tour, and that was fun. And about that time, the booths were open for the festival, and so we went to Trowel and Trellis first, and I got a flatbread, a vegetable flatbread, and then my husband, the meat eater, got a rib, and we both liked our food just fine. And then we headed to the World Showcase and started walking around that, which we just loved, the World Showcase and going into the shops. And we went to the caramel store, which I'll just call it the caramel store.
The caramel couche.
Okay.
That's how I remember how to say it, is like, speaking of things from the 90s, remember couche balls?
Yes.
For younger listeners, do they still have couche balls? I don't know. It's like
they do.
They do. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like little rubber, I don't know, like noodles, like very thin spaghetti, but it all comes out of one ball, and so it's all. I don't know. That was a terrible description. No one knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, caramel couche.
Caramel couche. Okay. So we went in there and we settled on, I wanted to have something that both my daughter and I would like to try. And so she chose the s'mores, and it was delicious, very messy. And so we got that. And then I should mention the other thing that we were doing at the same time was the extravaganza, which is the little Easter egg hunt throughout the World Showcase. And so so she was hunting for eggs and doing the stickers to ultimately get a surprise. Then we went to another booth called Fleur and Les. I'm probably butchering that, and that was in France.
Oh, Fleur and Lys.
Okay. And so I'm glad you're here. And I got it's like a croissant with the goat cheese, garlic goat cheese inside. That was my favorite from the booths. I loved that. and we got on Remy's and we just rode standby, and it wasn't bad at all. I think
Mm-hmm.
I waited maybe 25-30 minutes, and then we headed over and got my husband fish and chips because he didn't partake in the s'mores or the um croissant, so he was hungry. And
And
then
how did that stack up for him? Because he was looking forward to it enough that I wrote it down. It says Jed looking forward to fish and chips. All my notes about Jed are food related. Um,
yeah, that tracks. Um, he he loved it. Yes, he did love it. I'm trying to think about what he really liked as far as food, but he did like that because at the end, um, he mentioned it, when we were doing our little, okay, what were your top things from the trip? And like I said, we were shocked that Olivia mentioned Boma. Because
mm-hmm.
that's not what we were expecting. But Jed did bring up the fish and chips. And I really wanted him to have that because my grandma will always gets that, or used to always get that when she would go. She hasn't been to Disney World in years, but um he got it, and he liked it. So after fish and chips, we headed over to ride Figment, and my daughter was proudly wearing her Figment ears, which is hilarious because she has no idea who Figment is. None of us do, actually. And
Even after riding the ride?
I mean, yeah, but still, where did this character come from? And that was one of the things leading into the trip that my husband was funny about, because he's such a Disneyland guy,
Mm-hmm.
is he questioned Disney World in the theming because he felt like there were so many aspects about Disney World that was, where did this come from? Like, how does this relate to Disney? And
Mm-hmm.
he questioned, will I feel the magic when I'm there, when I don't know who a character like Figment is or how this is connected to Disney. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but spoiler alert, I knew I would be coming back to Disney World because, as previously mentioned, I travel there every few years with my high school students.
Mm-hmm.
But we will all be going back to Disney World. We had a fabulous time. But so we went to Figment. My daughter's wearing her Figment ears, and then she got to meet Figment. Loved Figment. It was so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Then my husband had his Guardians uh, single pass lightning lane at 3 p.m. And so he headed over there. And then my daughter and I headed to Club Cool, and we hung out there. And then she ended up getting a little slushy, and we walked around. We had a great time. So my husband, we met him at the exit of Guardians. He loved that ride. Of course, that was his top ride of the whole trip. He got
Mm-hmm.
September, which I felt like was so lucky for someone who, even when I asked him, like, oh, what song did you get? He didn't even know that you get a song, he didn't.
Yeah.
And so, but he just really enjoyed that. And it was fun to have him on the ride. And my daughter and I knew that we would get his picture while he was on the ride. And
Mm-hmm.
he, he was on it with a full group of people who, everyone on the ride, it was their first time, so they all got to really enjoy it together, so that was cute.
Wait, how did
And
he know that? Like, were they just all chatting in line?
yeah, he like, I guess he said that when he sat down, that the person he was sitting next to asked him like a question about the ride. He was like, I don't know, man, this is my first time. And then that it was him and the other people that they were with, that they're like, oh, it's our first time too. And of course, the whole
Yeah.
time they were looking at each other. And he said that the guy afterwards, like, like, gave him a high five, or like they were all cheering after, like they were celebrating how
Yeah.
fun it was after. I don't know,
Cool.
guy stuff, cute, whatever. um, and so, um, boys are so funny. The way that they just so easily. So after that, we took my daughter really wanted a soft pretzel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mobile ordered one from Germany, and I noticed that the internal boat that you could take dropped you off right in Germany. And I thought, oh, that'd be fun to take the internal boat. And so we did that. And when we went to pick it up, it was really fun because Snow White was in the area just walking around, and Olivia, kind of waved at her, whatever. And she went and grabbed Olivia's hand and took her around the whole little Germany area and was just talking to her and asking her questions. And everyone was gawking at them, because they wanted to take pictures with Snow White. And Olivia just felt so special. And Snow White was spinning her around. And, it was just really cute, a special moment. So that was fun. And then we went ahead and headed over to ride Frozen. And of course, this wasn't going to be a walk on like we had intended in the morning. We did wait a full hour, but it was definitely worth it. My daughter loved it. And so that was fun. And then we went to another booth. This time it was Farmer's Feast, and it was grilled corn, and we loved that. So that was really good. And then at this point, and again, we're walking around, we're really enjoying Epcot for what it is. And it's about 6:30 p.m. And we think we'll take a break because we have extended evening hours and come back. And we had no intention of taking a break because we are rope dropped to park close, but with the 3 hours
time
lost
change.
before,
Yep.
we were tired. And also, I should mention that it was very hot this day. I think it got up to 90, and it was, it was a beautiful day, but it was necessary to take a break. So we headed back to our hotel. We kind of relaxed for a little bit. My daughter was dying to get back into the pool, so we did that. And we surprisingly just did not want to leave Animal Kingdom Lodge because we just loved being there so much. And we felt like we had done everything at Epcot that we wanted to do. The only thing that we didn't really do was for extended evening hours, I was going to try and do Guardians, which I know for most people that's a must do. And it was certainly a must do for my husband to do it. But because I get motion sickness, it wasn't something I wanted to do during the day. It was something I was going to do at night so that in case it impacted me, it didn't ruin my day. But that was really the only thing I was giving up for our extended evening hours. It was just going to do redos and kind of walking around and that kind of thing. So we decided that we would just not go back to Epcot. And I do kind of regret that. I don't think my husband or daughter do. I just miss Disney World already. And I think like, we should have gone back. And in retrospect, I don't actually regret not going back. I regret making Epcot our first day because the whole reason why I made it our first day was because we had extended evening hours on Monday. And now, knowing now, what I would change is, as much as extended evening hours is a great perk, I personally don't really think that you need it. And if I was going to use it, it wouldn't be at a park unless it was nearby where I was staying, if that makes sense. Like, I think that we would have used the extended evening hours had we been staying closer to Epcot and we could have that midday break. But going back from Animal Kingdom Lodge just seemed like such a trek. And it was fine. My daughter, again, she just loved the pool area. We loved being at the resort. And so it was a great time.
I think that for me, I really love every single park at night. There's something about being there at night. So I like going back for that reason. I will say in terms of the extended evening hours that I think it's totally worth it for Magic Kingdom. For Epcot, it's nice to be there when it's dark and be able to ride Guardians one more time or whatever, but you don't get as much done during Epcot's extended evening hours as you would think because everything is so spread out. And then they also cut off part of the World Showcase during those extended evening hours. So, like if you're riding Remy and you want to go around and do Frozen, you can't go past America and Germany and everything to get over there. You have to go the UK direction. And so it just takes so long to get everywhere. I've never gotten very much done during those hours anyway. But you're right. If you are staying, like let's say you were staying at the boardwalk or beach club or yacht club, it would be very easy to go back and then just say, let's just go back in for like an hour and
Hmm.
just soak in the nighttime vibes there. But staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, unless you were doing something at Animal Kingdom itself, it's farther away from everything.
And that was kind of, and again, this is why we have to go back, because you learn a lesson and then you have to put the lesson you learned into play. And
Yep.
my lesson that I learned was that the extended evening hours, I was too obsessed with it. And had I realized that we weren't going to take advantage of the extended evening hours, one, I wouldn't have scheduled Epcot while we were at Animal Kingdom Lodge, since we did the split stay. And two, if I realized we weren't coming back, I would have at least stayed until sunset at Epcot so I could experience
Mm-hmm.
the nighttime vibe. But anyway, we did get some good sleep, which we desperately needed, especially since our next day was at Animal Kingdom, which was a very early day. And again, us being the rope drop people that we were on the bus headed to Animal Kingdom at 6:45 a.m.
Whew. Oh
I know.
my word. Okay. Well done. And at least the bus ride was not too far. What time did Animal Kingdom open this day?
So early entry was 7:30 a.m. and official opening was at 8. So we got to Animal Kingdom by 7 a.m. And another big difference between how Disney World does things versus Disneyland
Mm-hmm.
is at Disneyland, when you do rope drop, you and there's pros and cons to this, but the way that you do rope drop is you are led into the park and then you kind of line up at the lands until official opening of the park, and then you disperse. Whereas at Disney World, and it varies from park as you know, but you can kind of go to the actual ride. So you have a leg up on how early your official riding of rides starts, which is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Especially at these parks like Animal Kingdom or Epcot, Hollywood Studios. The only time that I kind of was like, oh, sadness, was at Magic Kingdom, because I kind of like at Disneyland how magical it feels that you slowly walk down Main Street and take in all
Mm-hmm.
the magic, and then you're held at Main Street because it just feels a little bit more I don't magical, not so rushed. But anyway, back to Animal Kingdom. We rope dropped Flight of Passage, and really it was it was a walk on that took 20 minutes just because of how long it takes to walk through the queue of that ride,
Mm-hmm.
which is of no problem to any of us because it was so beautiful. And my daughter, that was her very favorite ride. I think we talked in the pre-trip about how I was so nervous for her to go on that ride.
Mm-hmm. She's
And
not a thrill seeker normally.
no. And so I think for me, I don't know if I enjoyed the ride so much because the whole time I was just looking at her, and I will forever remember her little face just looking so shocked the whole time. And I kept shouting, "You can close your eyes. You can close your eyes." And she just was shaking her tiny little face like, "No, no." And I was just scared the entire time that she wasn't having a good time. And she got off and that was the best ride ever. I mean, she just loved it so much. She talks about it every single day now, just had the very best time. And my husband and we could cry. We were just so proud of her for being brave on that ride.
Mm-hmm.
And we were so excited because, as you know, since we messed up everything when we threw her on Big Thunder, when she was 4 years old, we just felt so accomplished. Like, is this the change of our Disney life? Is she going to start being, and she did that whole day. She was talking about, when we go to Disneyland, I'm going to ride Indiana Jones now, which is my favorite ride. And so I was so excited, and I don't know, it just really set the tone for the day, and we were so happy and excited. So that
Oh,
was
good.
yes. And then we went on Nabi River Journey, also a walk on, and then we headed to Kusafari, which which, as you remember, I wanted to get my coffee, and I wanted to drink my coffee on the safari, which now I realize is so silly because, of course, you can drink your coffee on the
Yes, not to
safari.
mention that you might accidentally get, human food where you should not, with where animals might have access to it, but it's a bumpy ride. Like, there's no way you could have a cup of coffee
Yeah, I
even if
did.
they let you.
While I was on the ride, I thought about, oh my gosh, Virginia probably was laughing when I thought, because, I'd never been on it. So I was like, can I take my coffee on? I love and hate that about myself, that I'm always wondering where I can take my coffee, because when I'm picturing having a vacation, I'm always picturing myself with coffee in hand. And
Hmm.
so I'm always wondering, where can I have my coffee? So this is how I played it. We went to the safari, and I ordered my coconut iced coffee, which was my favorite
Hmm.
coffee from the trip. And then I ordered my husband this loaded tater tots with eggs and cheese and bacon and all this stuff, which he loved. And then we enjoyed it while waiting in line for the
Hmm.
safari. And so that worked out. We had a wonderful time on the safari. It was early enough to where the animals were out and very active. Just really great. The three of us enjoyed it. And I was glad because it ended up getting very hot this day as well. And when we went around the trails later in the day, all the animals were definitely hiding. So we timed the safari out in a way that they were still out. So that was beautiful. Then we went to the Lion King show, and what an amazing show. So
Hmm.
fun. We all enjoyed it. And my daughter watched Lion King for the first time before we went on the trip. We wanted her to see that before and get excited. And it was funny because she mentioned that, oh, have you noticed that Lion King is really popular right now? And I laughed and I said, first of all, Lion King has been very popular for decades. You're just noticing because you just watched it. Anyway, so she was into Lion King. She got a little Simba stuffed animal, loved the show. And again, with how we were just really enjoying ourselves, my daughter said, when are we coming back here? I mean, she was already planning the trip. And so we were just having a
Hmm.
great time. She also, we'd seen Zootopia 1 and 2 already, and she had watched it again on the plane ride. And so she
Hmm.
was really looking forward to going to that show. We loved it. Really fun. I know some people, even after the turnover from Bugs Life, are saying that their kids aren't enjoying it or are getting scared. But for the life of me, and again, I have this child who's afraid of, even the drop in pirates and at Disneyland. I know the drop at Disney World is not the same, but I don't know what part is scary to kids. And that just goes to show how different kids are, because
Hmm.
like my daughter loves Haunted Mansion. The creepiness doesn't bother her. The darkness doesn't bother her. It's the feeling in her stomach that scares her. But then
Hmm.
in Zootopia, you do see some kids get upset. And I think that maybe it's the things coming close to their face.
The impression I always got, well, I can only speak to the Bugs Life experience because I have not gotten to do the Zootopia experience yet. But kids seemed to really get scared when it was using the effects that made it seem like something was touching you or spritzing you with the water and those sorts of things that were the 4D part of 4D seemed to be what bothered them the most. And from what I understand from Zootopia, those things still happen. It's just not bugs running at you necessarily. So I don't know. I haven't watched any spoilers because I want to experience it for the first time myself.
Super cute. We loved it. And then we did lunch. We kind of did a Mod Podge of lunch. We got a couple different things from Flame Tree Barbecue, including some mac and cheese with the barbecue on top. And my husband wanted to try the fried rice from Yak and Yeti, but the Yak and Yeti that is the grab and go one. And he loved that. He thought it was so good. And then he also got some egg rolls there. So just like little snacks for lunch, but everything we had was good. And then afterwards, we went and walked around on the trails. And yes, it was so hot that the animals were gone. We wanted to do Cali River Rapids, but it was down all day that day, which
All
was
day?
real. Yes, they even sent out like an apology thing on the app. And it was real unfortunate because, you know, Animal Kingdom is in a transitional place right now. And so it's still, for me, there's no way that I would even going back in its current state that I would skip it, but it's definitely a park that you could. What we ended up doing is making it our Disney Springs day as well. But if you have park hopper, definitely start in the morning and go elsewhere. But even though we were doing all the little things, we did not spend the whole day there. So after the trails, my husband rode Everest and single rider line, and it took no time at all. While he did that, I got my daughter some ice cream, and then we went and did a little souvenir shopping, and then headed back to our hotel to freshen up. And that worked out well before my daughter went to the pool again. And obviously we went with her, and then
She's just like, bye guys, I'll be back.
there we are again, the amazing parents that we are. No, we went to the pool. We all went to the pool together, and then we went to Disney Springs, and we had our reservation for Chef Art Smith's at 6:30. Oh my gosh, I had eaten there before. My husband and daughter had not, but we just loved the food. Every single thing was delicious. We got fried pickles, the fried pickle
Love fried
spears.
pickles.
Yes, we got that for the appetizer. Delicious. I got a chicken sandwich with the mac and cheese for mine. And then what did my husband get?
Meat?
Not he. You know what? He got he got chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes, and he loved his. I loved mine, and just really, really good. I mean, it's so. I don't want to say basic but it's just like American food, right? But we just loved it. And then we shopped, and we all got little souvenirs that we loved. And we headed over to Salt and Straw for dessert. And that is a staple for us when we go to Disneyland. So we were happy to have a piece of our beloved park at Disney World. And then I stopped by Summer House across from Salt and Straw and stocked up on cookies that were going to be my dessert for the rest of the time. And wow, let me tell you, the banana bread cookie from Summer House is the best cookie I've ever had in my entire life.
Thank you. You are the first person who has mentioned that flavor when talking about Summer House on the Lake, and it's one of my favorites.
It is the best. Oh my gosh, I think about it all the time. I wish I would have gotten a bunch more. I did, because I pack Ziploc bags whenever I go to a Disney park.
that is a must in my park bag. And if you're not carrying Ziploc bags with you to Disney, you're doing it wrong, because
Hmm.
they come in handy for leftover treats. They come in handy for something gets wet that needs to be sequestered within your bag. Like there are
Or
so
to keep
many.
something dry. Yes.
Right. Yes. So yeah, I always have like 1 gallon size, and then within that, I'll have like a couple snack size and a couple quart size, and I just fold it up, keep it in my bag, and every single time they come in handy.
Yes, same. So I asked the girl that worked there, hey, if I put some cookies in a bag, how long do you think it'll last? And she said, a few days at room temperature, or you could freeze them. But I wasn't going to get to a freezer soon enough. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put them in a plastic bag and this can just be our snacks. So I got the banana bread one, delicious, loved it so much. I will never not get that if in Florida. And then I got the lemon one, which was also good. It was very good, but not like the banana bread one. The banana
Mm-hmm.
bread one was just out of this world. And then my daughter and husband got it's a new one that they have. It was like an Oreo situation where it's like whatever crumpled up. I don't get behind things like that. I don't like, like M&Ms or, Oreos or cookies like that, but they do. They're like candy kind of people. I'm like, luscious, like real
Uh-huh.
dessert kind of person. So they had that and I had mine. Mine were devoured within a few days and they shared theirs over the course of the rest of the week, but that's good for them. Um, so that was good. I highly recommend that. I don't know why anyone would wait in the line because there was no line for me. I don't know why anyone would wait in the line for what is the place called that people love?
Gideon's. Yeah,
I don't know why
Gideon's.
people are waiting in that line because the summer house is that good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that wrapped up
Agreed.
our
Agreed. Although
yeah.
they over at Gideon's, I do love their peanut butter cold brew. It is so good, but I only get it if there's not long a wait at this point, because who wants to wait in lines? Not me.
Yeah, I know. Us at Disney parks constantly. Okay. So that wrapped up our Tuesday and then now we're ready for Wednesday, which is our resort day.
Yes. So you were enjoying your time at the resort, but also switching over to the Swan. So, kind of, the way I took it was you were going to try to squeeze the last minute fun out of Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then go try to enjoy everything that there was to enjoy about the Swan as well.
Yes. And I will say that one thing I didn't consider is that we wanted to do the pool at Kidani.
Mm-hmm.
And the pool at Kidani didn't open until 10 a.m.
Oh,
And that
okay.
was kind of cutting it close. So we didn't end up doing that. But what we did do at Kidani is go to the Sanaa restaurant
Mm-hmm.
where they have their breakfast. This is a huge tip for anyone that doesn't want to pay the Sanaa dinner prices, but wants the Sanaa experience. They have a quick service breakfast that they offer where you don't have to have reservations. You go in, you order it, and then you sit down wherever you want. So, of course, we sat down at the big windows where the animals were having breakfast right there with us. I mean, they served them breakfast at the same time as us. We had that Sanaa experience.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I I ordered to continue with the banana bread situation, and I know you're staying at Kajani, you have to get this. I ordered banana bread French toast with chantilly cream topping.
Oh my God. Keep
Yes,
talking. Keep talking.
no, you're going to love this. I mean, it was so good. And I think this is right up your alley. So again, Sanaa, this is going to be steps away from where you're staying.
Mm-hmm.
My husband had some sort of breakfast sandwich situation. And then my daughter had Mickey waffles. So, I mean, just perfect for all of us. We got to eat with the animals. The people that worked there were beautiful, and then we walked around Kajani, amazing. And we went into the gift shop there at Kajani and we got an ornament because, of course, we had to get an ornament of our new favorite place, Animal Kingdom Lodge. And then that's it. We checked out and then we headed over to the Swan. and we our room wasn't ready yet, of course, because it's 11 a.m. And so we
Mm-hmm.
left our luggage with Bell Services, and then we went to the pool there. And that was nice. They have three pools over at the Swan and Dolphin, which were really nice. And my daughter, she's so funny because she gets so used to something. So of course she was slightly homesick for Animal Kingdom Lodge's pool, and she was like, "I just miss the whatever." But she got real
Mm-hmm.
comfy real quick, so she was fine. Um, and then we had lunch at the Rosa Mexicano restaurant at the Dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
This was my favorite food of the entire trip. And I have to say that if you are having a Hollywood Studios day,
Mm-hmm.
and I know people say that Hollywood Studios has great like sit down dining, but not the best quick serve. If you're struggling to find an additional place to eat at Hollywood Studios and you're not staying at um, um, Swan and Dolphin, I highly suggest going to Swan and Dolphin on your Hollywood Studios day and eating at Rosa Mexicano, because it was my favorite food of the whole trip. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
my husband and I both had tacos, and we also got elote, which is just like your
I love
roasted
elote.
pork. It was so good. The
Yeah.
everything that we ate there was so good. I loved
We
it.
we have a couple different. I know of at least two different Rosa Mexicanas here in New York.
Oh,
So it is possible, depending on where you live, that there might be other locations. So I don't know if that's something that would be in one of the bigger cities in Texas that you might be able to take advantage of someday. But
well, and look, this is coming from someone who lives in the mecca of Mexican
right.
food, so my husband was surprised that I wanted to eat there, given that I have everything I could possibly want in my hometown. But I did want to eat there, and I'm so happy that we did because I just loved it. So we
Mm-hmm.
did that, and then our room was ready, so we settled in and changed and all of that good stuff. And then we headed over to the boardwalk, which is just steps from the Swan and Dolphin. And we had a great time. We did the Skyliner, which of course my daughter loved. She played those silly little games on the boardwalk, and she of course played against us. So she won and got a stuffed animal. We went by several of the different resorts, which was fun to check out because it's always fun to start thinking about what would we do next time. And I went to Cake Bake Shop and I got a iced matcha, and so we just really had a great time. Then we went back to the hotel and freshened up again because again it was really hot and so we were having to do that constant freshening up. And we had our beaches and cream reservation, which was going to be a little bit later, but I just went into the app and modified it to be earlier because we ended up being ready earlier for it. And that wasn't a problem at all. So then we headed down to Beaches and Cream, and we had a great experience there. The food is just fine, but it's the atmosphere and the ice cream which gets you. And so we had a good time. And then after Beaches and Cream, we went back to the pool and we did what I had intended to do, which is near the pool is this sandy little beachy area at the
Mm-hmm.
Swan. And it was a great view of the fireworks at Epcot. And so we loved that. And they had like a movie playing for guests, and, they were doing s'mores and whatnot, which we didn't partake in because we were at the pool, but it was the perfect spot for fireworks. So that wrapped up a perfect resort day.
In terms of the resorts that you saw over there that you walked through, what was the one that called to you the most for a future trip?
You know what's funny is, of course, I liked Riviera the most, and I knew that I would, but I I have to say that when we were at those resorts, the convenience of them and the Skyliner was really appealing to us, but it just made us realize that we really liked Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
It
Okay.
just felt Animal Kingdom Lodge just felt very like homey,
Mm-hmm.
and those resorts felt, I don't know, like not bad, but they just felt, I don't know, like it was just a different vibe. And I personally loved how we did it, where it was two completely different vibes for our split stay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do that again. I would do that again. I would just structure the parks that we did differently
Mm-hmm.
over that timeline. So I liked Riviera. My husband did think that Riviera was odd, that it was so just like out in the open, that there wasn't anything closed off about it. And I think that that's one thing that he really enjoyed about Animal Kingdom Lodge, that it was
Mm-hmm.
so tucked away from everything. But
Mm-hmm.
that was one of the I mean, I loved Animal Kingdom Lodge, but one of the cons for me is that it was so far from everything.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well,
So,
lots to consider for future trips.
yes.
So that brings us to Thursday, March the 12th. And this was a Hollywood Studios day. And you can't get much more convenient than staying over in the Swan to get to Hollywood Studios. So I think you were planning to walk to the park to do your rope drop.
Yes, we walked, and I love being able to walk. That's one of the reasons why I love Disneyland so much. So we left our hotel room at 7 in the morning. Early entry wasn't until 8:30, but I love to be first. And so I got my coffee and we walked, and it was a 15-minute walk. And, we were taking our time, but it was a lovely walk right by the water. And we were, again, the very first people at the line that we were lined up for rope drop. My daughter wanted to rope drop Mickey and Minnie. We were the first people on that ride. So she was the one that like led the line down. So that was cute and fun. And I guess because I'm not an athlete and I've never been like very capable when my competitive nature comes out at rope drop. So I want to be the first every single day. I'm like, this is where I can shine.
This is my sport.
So after we did Mickey and Minnie, we went to Midway Mania, again, a walk on. And then we did Alien Swirling Saucers, also a walk on. And I think that we were done with all of this by like 9 a.m., those three rides. So that was nice. And then we headed into Galaxy's Edge. My husband wanted to get a morning Ronto wrap because those are his absolute favorite. Although he did mention that it was slightly different than the Ronto wrap in Disneyland, because at Disneyland they scramble their eggs, and at at Hollywood Studios it's like this flat, like baked egg, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Fun fact about me, I've never had eggs in my life.
What?
So I know. It's wild. um so then we had our single pass for Rise of the Resistance. And this was Olivia's first time riding Rise. And we were so excited because, here comes Brave Girl. She
Mm-hmm.
hated it.
Oh
And
no.
she wasn't going to allow herself to like it. Like she got upset like right before we got on it. And
Mm-hmm.
she was already upset when we were getting in it. But it's just one of those times where what were we going to do? We had already paid for it. We were literally already getting buckled in,
Mm-hmm.
and it is the same track as Mickey and Minnie's minus the drop. Like if you look at the actual tracking of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Well, she wasn't, and she was crying. So of course on you know, the ride, we look like the worst. And she just did not like it. And so we told her, it's fine. We're about to be out. It was what it was. So that wasn't fun for any of us. But we after that, my husband went and he wanted to ride Star Tours because the exterior is so different than Disneyland that he just wanted to enjoy that. And so he went and did that. And I went and took Olivia to meet Olaf and just kind of decompress after the torture of going on Rise of Resistance. And so we did that, and she went shopping and she got a Spin little baby that she loves. And so that was fun. for her, and she felt 100% better. And then we went to the Frozen show, which is so cute. And
It is.
my husband says that that was like one of his favorite things from Hollywood Studios, which is also cute because you wouldn't expect that from him.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just really had a great time there. And then we had our lunch reservations at 12:20 for Roundup Rodeo. Also so cute. What a great experience.
It's
Um,
so cute. It's not one of my favorite restaurants in terms of the food. I like the food better at other places in Hollywood Studios, specifically the Brown Derby. But I wanted to ask you, like, being that you are in Texas and it's like one of the barbecue capitals of the world, of the United States, certainly. How did you like the barbecue?
well, first of all, when we say Texas, El Paso is like a different part of Texas. And so
Mm-hmm.
um, I would say that we're more Mexican food than barbecue food.
Okay.
And I don't know that me being the picky eater that I am, like maybe we should have Jed in here, but he's not here, so we can't. I personally, I thought the food was great. I loved the corn. I loved the bread service, and I liked the chicken. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was great. And then what was also really great was my daughter, who, the buttered noodled girl that she is, um, the mac and cheese, which I thought was great, she didn't like it, which shocker, because it's not Kraft mac and cheese. And so the our server was so awesome, and he was like, what's wrong, you don't like this, or there's not enough food for you, which was hilarious because our table was like,
Uh-huh.
massive amounts of food. And she was trying to be polite, and she goes, well, I just like plain noodles. And he was like, all right, let me go talk to the chef. And he
Uh-huh.
came out with this huge bowl of buttered noodles for her. And it was so cute. And so we just had such a great time, such a fun
Good.
experience. I loved it. So then afterwards, we came out and she met Buzz, which was cool. And then we went to that little walkthrough exhibit where it's the history of Disney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, and that we enjoyed because we're into history of Disney things, since we have a love for Disney. And then we went to see the Villains show, which was also really cute. And I, my daughter's a show girl. I'm not really a show person, mostly because I'm sure you can tell by now, but I'm very like ding, 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 like
Mm-hmm.
OCD, like schedule person. And like, I just can't like focus for that long because I'm always thinking about like, okay, what are we accomplishing next? But we enjoyed the shows. The shows were so fun, and it really allowed me to not be so crazy schedule. And it was a different vibe than go, go,
Mm-hmm.
go like I'm used to. So that was fun. Um,
Who won the villains show for you?
it it was um the
Cruella,
one.
Captain Hook,
No, no.
Maleficent.
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't she always win?
She does not. I think she wins the most,
Mm.
but just from what I'm hearing from people. But I've spoken with people who have seen Captain Hook win, and I've spoken with people who have seen Cruella Deville win.
Yes, and my daughter was cheering for Maleficent, and so she was so excited that she won because she felt like she had ownership of it. So that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went back because we could. We went back and had a midday break, and that's the way to do it. And so fun. We took naps, and well, my husband and I took naps, and my daughter, you know what she did? This is so silly. One of the souvenirs that she bought was this like little frozen castle that it's a miniature situation, and her tiny little resin duck fits in it. So the
Mm-hmm.
duck could have like a little bed and was the size of Olaf. And so that's what she played with while we napped because, again, perfect parents. And so Um, so then we headed back to the park around 6:30, and my daughter promptly asked for a Mickey bar, and we got it for her. And then she wanted to ride alien saucers again. And so we did that. It was so fun because the sun was setting. Oh, one thing I didn't mention was the only time it rained the entire trip was as we were walking into our hotel for that midday break.
Mm-hmm.
And we waited until it stopped raining to head back. So that 2.5 hour span was the only time it rained the whole time. And so it was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sounds good.
so while we were on alien swirling saucers, the sun was setting and two rainbows were appearing, and so it was just beautiful. And you know how the that whole area is in the Toy Story area. I just like
Mm-hmm.
the perfect setting. And we rode Midway Mania again, and then we headed back into Galaxy's Edge to ride Rise. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Imagine.
You had me going for a second.
No, we headed back into Galaxy's Edge because my husband, and I don't know if you can see in this room behind me. I don't know,
I
but
can see that. I think that there's an Ewok in the background.
no, but he collects the little lightsabers, and there's more on this shelf. He has a bunch of them.
Oh, okay. I see. Like the hilts.
Yeah, like the lightsabers that you can build at Savvy's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an expensive little collection that he has going. So every time we go to Disneyland, he makes one. But he's made so many. This makes them sound very dorky, and I'm aware, but he's made so many. I can't wait for him to listen to this. But he's made so many that he can't, they haven't released any new parts. He's hoping that they release new parts for the, may the force be with you or whatever.
May the fourth be with you.
Okay. Well,
It's a national holiday.
Yeah, whatever the Star Wars thing is that they do in the parks. But but they haven't. So what he wanted to do, something that they have different in Disney World, is they sell the parts separately. I don't know. I feel dumb talking about this because he's going to listen and think like, no, that's not what happens. But essentially we went to Galaxy's Edge because what he wanted for his souvenir was to buy the individual parts that he doesn't have for his lightsabers. So that's what we did. And he had a lot of fun looking at what they offer there versus Disneyland. And then we headed over to ABC Commissary to get the buffalo chicken grilled cheese. And
Okay. What are your thoughts on this?
I really liked it, but here's what I'm going to say is we mobile ordered it, and we mobile ordered it because another weird thing about Disney World is all their restaurants, they close a little bit earlier than the park. Do you know this, or do you notice this?
I haven't noticed that, but I'm normally not trying to eat at a time that's close to the park close anyway. So,
Well, okay, so, but this isn't like, I want to say that this was probably around 7:30 or 8, and it was gonna. So the restaurant was gonna close at 8, but the park didn't close until 9 or 10.
oh wow, okay.
And at Disneyland, and I'm sorry if anyone's getting annoyed that I keep bringing up Disneyland, but that's just what I know. The park closes either at 11 p.m. or midnight, but everything is open until 11 p.m. or midnight.
Right.
So you don't really have to keep track of, not that I wouldn't eat at 11 p.m. or midnight unless it was a treat. But so we were heading over there and to grab that. And so I mobile ordered it so it'd be ready, and they were definitely closing down. The sandwich was good. I just could imagine that it would be better had we not been ordering it right before they closed. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay. All right.
So
Fair enough.
Yes. So that was good. We did appreciate that they had free refills on their drinks.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a plus there.
And so then we headed over to grab one thing that happened this day is we looked at the weather, and for Friday it was actually going to be really nice as far as the high was going to be in the low 70s, whereas all the other days it was pretty warm. And my daughter had been wearing we had brought a couple sweatshirts for her, and it is so cold every time you go inside a restaurant or which is nice, but she was wearing her sweatshirts way more than we had expected her to wear. And so they were getting kind of grungy. So I needed to get her a new sweatshirt to wear for the day that it was actually going to be more necessary. So we ran and got her a sweatshirt for the next day. And then we watched the projections on the Chinese theater and rode Mickey and Minnie one more time. And then we were back at the hotel by 10 p.m.
And that brings us to your last park day, which of course is Magic Kingdom. So, how did rope dropping go from the Swan over to the Magic Kingdom?
Okay, so early entry this day was 7:30 because the park opened at 8. So
Okay.
we were on the bus at 6:40 a.m.
Wow.
And so we rope dropped Peter Pan. And again, really cool in that you were already in the line at 7:30 for Peter Pan. Like, we've already gone through the queue. And Disney World, like, they're very lax. They're like, all right, they just start the line. Whereas Disneyland, they make a big shebang of it where they have to play music and this whole situation. And so, no, I think we were almost getting off the line at 7, off the ride at 7:30. So that was fine. One thing that I didn't realize, because our plan was to go to Haunted Mansion next, was that Haunted Mansion is part of the second rope drop, if you will, because those rides aren't ready. And so even though this seems like a silly second ride, we went ahead and went on Small World just because it's right there.
Right.
And then we headed to Haunted Mansion and did the carousel. We went to Gaston's. I really wanted to try the creme brulee pastry that they have at Gaston's. Loved it. Really good. Super sweet, but very good. And then we had our 8:45 Winnie the Pooh lightning lane scheduled. Really
And this
cute.
was the only day you did multi-pass, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I love the Winnie the Pooh. It's different than the Winnie the Pooh at Disneyland, and it's cute. I do like the Winnie the Pooh better at Disney World. And then as soon as we scanned in there, I was able to book our Jungle Cruise, which, I had been worried about wanting to situate it together. And I wasn't able to situate it together, which was fine because, it was fine, but I did get it. When we got off of Winnie the Pooh, we got my daughter her birthday pin just right there at the kiosk in the souvenir shop from Winnie the Pooh. And we told her this was the day that she'll celebrate her birthday in the parks, because she recently turned 9, like this past week, but at that point she hadn't turned 9 yet. And then her and my husband went on teacups. I took pictures because of my motion sickness. And then we headed to the Country Bear show. Super cute. Didn't know what to expect, but I liked it. And my daughter got to meet one of the country bears, which was funny because there was a child nearby that was hysterically crying about how ugly the bear was. And then we rode the magic carpets, which my daughter loved because she loves Dumbo, and that was like a different version of Dumbo. And we had a lightning lane for that one. And so we promptly booked the Speedway, Tomorrowland Speedway. And then we grabbed my husband the hamburger or cheeseburger spring rolls. And he liked those a lot. And then we went to the Pecos Bills, and I had the chicken nachos there before, and I really liked them. And people say like, oh, there's nothing to eat at Magic Kingdom unless you go to, the really fancy sit down restaurants at Cinderella's Table or whatever. But I do like some of their snacks there. Like I love those nachos, and my husband liked the cheeseburger spring rolls. But anyway, so we did that, and we got a little table at the Pecos Bills, and we just hung out there while my husband and I took turns redeeming our Tiana's Lightning Lane. And my husband went first, and I was excited for him because he hasn't been on Tiana's since it switched from Splash Mountain. And he loved it, and I was happy because that's my second favorite ride. And we had brought ponchos and everything, and he was like, "Oh no, I'm so dry, I didn't need them, you'll be good." And so I was like, "Oh, okay, great, I'll go." And everyone says you get so much more wet at Disneyland than Disney World, and I had been on the one at Disney World, and I don't remember getting that wet. And anyway, so I was like, okay, so I went and redeemed it. I got soaking wet. And I don't know why. I mean, my hair looked like I had just walked out of the shower. And mind you, this is at 11:30 in the morning. So the rest of my day, I just look wild. And so just wear the poncho.
I think it's a roulette type situation. I think it depends on where you're sitting within the log, but then also my theory is it also depends on like what the makeup of the people are who happen to be in the same log with you. Like I think the weight distribution makes a difference.
Well, and I think that it's also a karma because the two girls that were in my boat asked the cast member, like, we don't get wet, right? And then the cast member like sarcastically said, "It's a water ride." And then boom, we took off, and I was like, "Oh no, we're going to get really wet now." And sure enough. So that was that. But of course, totally worth it. Love that ride. And then we went and got, ice cream at, from the plaza on Main Street because my daughter was really wanting to try that. And we were wasting time until our 1:30 reservation at Beacon Barrel. So Beacon Barrel, the inside of Beacon Barrel is really cool. What was funny for me is that, of course, in my research, I've watched videos and all that, and I had already expected the whole, a bunch of people telling you that you have X amount of time and the rush. And I wasn't going to be bothered by the rushing of it because I already knew to expect that. And they do. Several different people will tell you how much time you have. So you have to expect that and not be bothered by that. And I wasn't. What was disappointing for me about that was there was not one show or exciting thing that happened while we were there.
Oh,
And
okay.
all the videos I've seen, multiple things happen in the 45 minutes that someone's there. So I just thought that it was funny that that didn't happen while we were there. I mean, we were there for almost the full 45 minutes and not one thing happened while we were there, I don't know. So that was a little funny. But with that being said, we did order an appetizer. We got the corn griddle roasted peppers, and it was very good. And then I got the margarita, and my husband got the lit fuse. And I liked my margarita. My husband didn't love the margarita because it has ube in it, and he doesn't love the flavor of that. But his lit fuse we both really liked. In fact, I kind of liked his lit fuse better because we both like mezcal, and it has a mezcal liquor in it, so that was good. And then we headed over back to Main Street to get ready to watch Festival of Fantasy. And we had a great spot for that, unintended. I mean, I think just when you have only 3 people in your party, it's very easy to kind of squeeze in. And so that was fun. My daughter got to, get a lot of waves, and she enjoyed that. Then we headed to Tomorrowland, and Tomorrowland at Disney World is far superior than Tomorrowland at Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just better vibes. I think that, you know, the actual like Space Mountain at Disneyland is better, um, but the actual layout of Tomorrowland is better at Disney World. Like People Mover, that was probably my favorite ride of the trip, just because it it's fun.
I
It's
love People Mover. It is. I can't go to Magic Kingdom and not ride People Mover. The only way I would not ride it is if the line was insanely long, but it's a staple.
Yeah, we rode it a couple of times. We enjoyed it. And so then we did Speedway, and of course my daughter loves that because she gets to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband did Space Mountain, which I had booked him Space Mountain and my daughter and I Dumbo, whenever we had redeemed Tiana's. Like I separated those. So while he did Space Mountain, I took my daughter to do Dumbo. And then I when we redeemed those, I booked teacups again for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, we did the carousel and no, sorry, not the carousel of progress, which that was interesting. Um, I I'm glad that we did it. It was cool. I think my daughter was very like, oh, like that was
What's
unexpected.
this?
Yeah, but it was cool. And then we went and redeemed our Jungle Cruise. And then so at this point, we're kind of like crisscrossing the park, which is fine. And then we redeemed teacups for Jungle Cruise. No, not teacups, Little Mermaid. And then so we went back and to Tomorrowland, and we went to the Laughing Floor.
Mm-hmm.
And again, super funny because my husband, who is, he's charismatic once you get him going, but he doesn't go out of his way to be like the center of attention by any means. Like I typically take that role on, and he just kind of is like the side guy. Well, of course they put him on the screen, and
Was he that guy?
he wasn't that guy. We wish that he was, because we laughed so hard for that guy. He was this guy's going to be buying
By
everyone
everybody
churros.
churros. Got it.
And so of course my daughter just thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And so did I, because if you knew my husband, you would know that him making sure that he's not that guy is like his personality. And so and meanwhile my daughter was like full on dancing, doing anything she could do to be on screen, and then they zero in on him, and it was just really funny. So that worked out well, and definitely was a highlight for us. We were laughing. And they had the teacups, and then we headed over to our reservation at Tony's.
Mm-hmm.
So we had booked Tony's purposely at 8 p.m. because we wanted to see the Starlight Parade and potentially get that spot on the patio.
Mm-hmm.
We, as well as everyone else that was going to Tony's that night, had the same idea. And
Mm-hmm.
so here's my suggestion. It's a good thing to do. I wouldn't have, in retrospect, I wouldn't have done the 8 p.m. I would have done, because the parade that night was running at 8 p.m. I would have done like at 7:15 or even 7 p.m. And that way
Mm-hmm.
you could tell them that you're willing to wait. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so when we got there, we told them that, and no, the parade, I'm sorry, was going at 8:30.
Oh, okay.
And we got there at 8. So anyway, so they said, yeah, our patio is fully booked, but the next best thing that we can offer you is the atrium and have you sit near a window, which is what we did. And it worked out perfectly. We saw every float go by. It was beautiful. We loved it. And Tony's was great. We got garlic bread appetizer that has the fondue garlic cheese sauce on top.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious. I got the vodka rigatoni, and my husband got like a seafood fettuccine. We loved our food. My daughter got, you guessed it, buttered noodles, and
Mm-hmm.
she loved her buttered noodles. And then, of course, she got her little dessert where you get to design your own cake or something. Just a really great experience. And being able to see the parade was awesome. And then when we were done, the fireworks were going off. So we got to watch the fireworks. And then we rode Little Mermaid. And that was it. It was time to go. Our plan for leaving was to get on the boardwalk bus
Mm-hmm.
and then walk from boardwalk to Swan and Dolphin. That it's crazy because the boardwalk bus was just not coming and not coming and not coming. And
Mm-hmm.
so finally we just decided to jump on the, what's the other property that's right?
The Beach Club and Yacht Club.
Yes. So we jumped on that bus. And because for some reason the beach and yacht club, like their buses were having to pull off to the side because they had so many buses coming left and right that their other buses had to wait until one bus left. It was wild. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why the boardwalk people weren't getting on the beach and yacht club bus. But anyway, so that's what we did. We ended up getting on that bus and we took it and then walked over to Swan and Dolphin, which was not a problem at all. And then the crazy thing is, this is, late. This is 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and we still needed to pack
Oh
because
gosh.
I had an Uber scheduled to pick us up at 5 a.m. the next morning.
Right, because your flight was at 7:45.
And I was scared about TSA.
Right.
And so we packed and we went to sleep for, however, a few hours or whatever. And then we woke up and we went to the airport. Not a problem. Uber, everything was fine. And then when we got there, TSA wasn't as bad as it clearly is at this point,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the start of, I mean, they weren't getting paid at this time, so they were rightfully upset. I mean, even with my daughter, they were, you know, upset. And so we waited in line probably for about, I don't know. I feel silly even making a big deal of it because it was only like 45 minutes to an hour, and which is absolutely nothing in comparison to now. But it was good that we were there at the time we were there, so
Mm-hmm.
we had ample time. But that was it. Everything else was smooth sailing. And as you know, once we got home, we got our souvenir of sickness.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just left with sadness and wanting to book our next Disney World trip.
When do you think that trip will be? Any
Well,
sense of how long you're going to let yourselves wait?
so we, you know, as everyone knows by now, we are Disneyland people. So we are headed to Disneyland in June. And I'm a magic key holder. And so going to Disneyland is just easier and makes more financial sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I I know that we will do Disney World again. I just don't think that it will be in the next year or two. Well, for my family, I will go with my students, but for a
Mm-hmm.
family trip, I think we'll probably wait another couple of years, but we'll be going to Disneyland multiple times over the next year for sure.
Okay. And at the end of the day, being the Disneylanders that you are, how do you think that both Jed and Olivia felt about the comparison between the parks since it was their
So,
first times?
yes. So, um, Jed and Olivia both say that they love Disneyland more, but that Olivia says her favorite ride is at Disney World is Flight of Passage, even though she loves Disneyland more. And Jed loves Disneyland more because he does think that it's, has that more magical feeling and everything. But he definitely appreciates Disney World. And he thought it was going to be like a one and done trip. And now he can definitely see us going there. And by far, his favorite part of Disney World was Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Okay. Wow. Do you think getting DVC is ever in your future for Animal Kingdom Lodge? Because I think that especially in terms of resale points, those are some affordable points to get.
Oh, really? I don't know. Of course, they called us several times to make an appointment, and we should have. We had plenty of time, our Epcot night, to go to. But of course, we want to be DVC people. Doesn't everyone? But we also want our child to go to college,
That's true. That is a consideration. Yeah. Resale, though, is very affordable compared to buying directly from Disney. And from what I have noticed, in terms of the comparison, I think that the Animal Kingdom points are more affordable because lots of people are wanting to buy like Riviera these days, or even like Polynesian to have access to the new tower, things like that. So I don't know, just thought I'd ask. I am so excited about my Animal Kingdom stay now. I was already excited, but I'm even more excited hearing your amazing experience there. So cannot wait to have that for myself.
I can't wait to hear your trip report and get to relive my little Animal Kingdom Lodge experience vicariously through you.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to sharing that with everybody and even more so looking forward to experiencing it. Thank you so much for coming on, Chelsea. I had such a good time talking to you. I'm glad you guys are all feeling better again, because I know that you did walk away with that Disney not feeling the blues, but also like literally just not feeling well after you got back. But this has been so much fun, and this is hopefully the beginning of chatting with you again in the future, and you can be a repeat guest.
Yes, for Disneyland. And then I'm going to convince everyone to be Disneyland people.
Yeah, I mean, especially because you all go to Disneyland so much more frequently. I would be very interested to hear a trip from that perspective as well, since you know those two parks backwards and forward. Well, thank you again so much, and I will talk to you again at some point in the future.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. It was a pleasure, and I hope that you will be back again to tell us about your next Disneyland adventure. That is all for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in and for your kind words through reviews and direct messages. It means the world, and it's so appreciated. Until next time, keep daydreaming about where you long to be.